May is Mental Health Awareness Month. 1 in 5 people are diagnosed with mental illness. And behind that statistic, there's a real person fighting to feel like themselves again. Tonight, Amanda Fay shares one woman's remarkable journey back to life.
A broken mind is hard to repair. It leads to heartache and despair.
For Laura Langenderfer, that despair began about 8 years ago.
I was about to go to work. I was working the midnight shift, so I put my coat on. I had my keys in my car. I was getting ready to say goodbye to him. And all of a sudden, it was literally like I had just been lit on fire, and I threw my keys down, and I was like just ripping my coat off, and I started going, I can't do this. I can't do this.
That's the day Laura would later learn she was having a nervous breakdown. She would put in the work with her therapist, but eventually had to leave her career as a nurse, which she loved so much.
I just felt so productive as a human being a nurse. You know, I felt like I was helping, and that was just gone. And gone with that was my entire identity.
Years would pass. Laura would continue to battle, but mostly wore a mask.
It just went like that, year after year, being semi-numb. And you know, when people would say, oh, how are you doing? I was very, very good at saying, oh, I'm fine, how are you?
Eventually, by January of this year, her depression would become so debilitating, she barely left her bed. But her mind was putting together a plan, one to end her life, and one she would share with her therapist.
I dropped my head and I started sobbing, and just it all came out, and I said, Doctor, I'm not lying. And I laid out my plan. And as soon as I was finished speaking, he said, go.
Laura would check herself into the hospital, where she stayed for 9 days, without her husband, without her daughter, terrified, but a flicker of fire still inside.
That is, without a doubt, the thing that saved my life. I told my story a little more to the doctors. Medications changed. Many were taken away, something new increased.
And something changed inside her.
Help is out there to see you through. Step by step, you'll re-find you.
When she left the hospital, she could see the sunshine again and feel the warmth.
And I hadn't felt any of that in a long, long time. And it just was to me like, wow, it was possible. You know, all those years I suffered, and I could find myself again.
In the months since leaving the hospital, Laura wants to make sure everyone knows they are worthy.
Having such a severe pain like that.
She shared her story on social media, spoken to a local senior group, and done a photo shoot with her husband, celebrating the fact that even broken crayons can still color.
To see her smile again, she hadn't smiled in years, you know. She has this little grin, this little smirk that I love but haven't seen it in years, you know, and to see it again, it's just like, all right, I know she's back.
For those who are struggling, Laura says honesty is crucial. Be honest with yourself and with your doctors. She also advises seeing your therapist in person rather than through telemedicine. But perhaps this poem she wrote when she left the hospital says it best.
Don't give up or think you're lost. Fight like hell no matter the cost. Your life is precious and so are you. One day at a time, you'll feel brand new.
For WTOL 11, I'm Amanda Fay.
And we're happy to report Laura is doing so well. And Laura, you helped so many people tonight. If you're feeling helpless or suicidal, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, is also available, providing free resources, including classes, to learn more about a specific diagnosis, support groups, and advocacy services. First and foremost, people at NAMI want everyone to know they care.
Everybody feels isolation and like they should have to carry these burdens by themselves, and nobody walks this journey alone.
Call 988 if you're experiencing dark thoughts, and check out this story on WTOL.com to get connected to NAMI.